Hi everyone, today I'm going to do a look that was requested by my friend Danielle. She's asked me to do an Anna Kendrick look, which is in a new film Pitch Perfect. And this is the look here. So it's a smoky, grungy type of look. And I'm not sure if they've used a brown or a very faded black. But I'm going to go for brown because she's asked if it can be a bit more of a day look that she could just put on to go to work and stuff like that, but she loves the look, so I'm going to try and do that look for you today. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the skin, and I'm going to be using a relatively new product to me, which is Wake Me Up Foundation by Rimmel. This product is a little bit yellowy for me, but that's because I'm really super pale, and I'm sure you guys don't have that problem, it's just me. And I'm going to be using a Real Techniques foundation brush. I'm also going to highlight to the brushes I use and try and make it as cheap as possible, because Danielle has asked me to overhaul her makeup as well and tell her what products I'm using, even the brushes. And obviously you don't have to have a brush to apply foundation on, but I like doing it. You can also use your hands. Using your hands is really good, because then you're actually heating the product up and the product will sink into the skin a little bit better and look a bit more natural. By the way, this product in the UK, I got it from Wilkinson's and it was under £5, it was £4.98, which is amazing. So if you are interested in getting this product, I would definitely try and head up to your Wilkinson's and see if they've got it available. So now for my next product, I'm going to be using, you can't really see what this is. This is Collection 2000 Lost Imperfection Concealer in Light number 2. I'm using this because it's got a peachy tone to it, which corrects my blue circles underneath my eyes. So just applying it on and blend it in with my fingers. I'm also going to apply a little bit around my nose as well, because I have a little bit of redness in the gaps there. And you also apply anywhere that you need any extra coverage, like if you've got any blemishes. But I'm very lucky. I'm going to carry on with the face, and I'm going to go into my Sleek Contour Kit in Light, and I'm going to be using that brown to contour and also apply sort of a blusher type look. She doesn't have a lot of blusher on her skin. It just looks more like a bronzer. So this is a matte bronzer, and I've just got it on a fluffy brush, which is a B2 blush brush from Crown Brush, and it's really inexpensive, but it is my favourite brush ever. I powder, I contour with it, I put blusher on with it, so I think this is a fantastic brush. So I'm just going to find the hollow bit there, which comes down from my ear, just sort of the middle of my eyebrow, so no further in, and just applying that product there. If you don't know where it is just underneath the cheekbone there, and it's going to be different on everybody, but that is where mine's placed. So I'm just applying a bit of that just to give the face shape, and then blending it onto the cheek itself, so onto the cheekbone. So now I'm going to go back into the eyes, and I'm going to zoom you in a bit. I always do it to zoom you out. Right, you're a bit more zoomed in now. The palette I'm going to be using is a Sleek palette, and this is the Au Naturel palette. And these are really inexpensive, and if you've ever wanted the Urban Decay palette but not been able to afford it or anything like that, these are little fantastic sort of, because they have all the natural colours in it, and they're quite good products as well. So I'm going to be using a flat brush, and I usually use my MAC 239 brush. These are pretty expensive, but they will last you. Other comparable product is a Lauren Luke brush, so you can see they are very similar, but this one isn't as dense, so it doesn't pick up as much product as this one does, so this is a little bit more dense. And there are other brushes like it. I think I got this brush, which is too stiff, which is by Gosh, which is from Superdrug. but that could be suitable as well. And I think the Gosh brushes are really quite good because they are packed full of bristles. So have a look in Superdrug to try and find your favourite. But I am going to use my favourite, which is the MAC one, unfortunately, because I haven't found a comparable one which can replace it. So in this palette, I'm going to go with the matte brown shade, which is this one here. And I'm going to apply that all over the lid, but only stopping at the lid, not going much higher. The darkest area we want is just along the lash line, so I'm just applying a little bit more just right on the lash line, so the colour is a bit more intense in the lash line. So now with the extremely fluffy blender brush, this is by Loreal, and she is a makeup guru here on YouTube, and she created these. I love this one because it is super fluffy. Another one that is like a more expensive one, if you're interested in a more expensive one that you see me use all the time, is a MAC 217, but this is like a tapered one and it's not as fluffy. This is super fluffy, where this is more stiff, but this is good for blending. But I'm going to use the Loreal one. There are others on the market, you just need to sort of have a look around, but I'll put like crown brushes down in the bar below so you can check that out if you want as well. So just using this, I'm just going to be blending those edges out really well. So just back and forth, windscreen wiper motions, just over the top edge. So the key with this look is to make it very wearable during the day, is to smoke it out so there isn't a huge amount of boom colour on that. Don't think I've ever used boom in a tutorial before. Sorry about that, guys. So now for the underneath, I'm going to be using a pencil brush, and this is from Crown Brush, which is a precision detail brush. Going back in that brown shade that we initially picked up, and because this is quite pigmented and a stiff brush, I'm going to dab off the excess on the back of my hand so it isn't very strong, and I'm going to start making the V look that she's got coming underneath the eye. So starting from the bottom edge of the eye, just the outer corner, I'm going to follow it up towards sort of the shape of the brow, so where the brow ends, and bringing it into the crease. So really quite close in the crease. So we're making a sort of arrow shape. I'm also going to go in with a little bit of the black that's in here, and this is also matte. Dab off a little bit of the excess and apply that on the lash line as well. This can be quite messy because we're going to blend that out, but just to darken that colour on the lash line, and a tiny bit, whatever I've got left in the brush, it's going to go on the outer corner where we've put that V. So now I'm going to swap over and go into a angle brush, and this is also from Crown Brush, and I'm going to go back into that brown and bring the colour into the inner part of the eye. The inner part of the eye is really skinny and goes quite thick out here. So I'm just doing a bit of clean up there because it's gone a bit too thick. And ensure this is quite thick in the outer corner. So now back to the blending brush that we used earlier, just going in and blending those edges out so they're nice and soft. So I'm just doing little circular motions and back and forth windscreen wiper motions. Just to clean up the underneath the eye, I'm going to go in with my foundation brush with no more product on it, but I'm just going to clean up the edges underneath and ensure that there's not a lot of product falling down as well, just to wipe it away. So there's no more foundation on this, it's just what's left over. So now I'm going to go in and highlight just underneath there, and it also helps clean up any mistakes you've got. So I'm mixing these two colours here, which is a camel colour and a white colour, just to get my sort of skin colour. And just apply that underneath my brow. But if you don't have the creamy shades, you could also go in with any concealer to sort of... Now for eyeliner, I'm going to go into Avon Shock Gel Eyeliner, Supershock Gel Eyeliner. The eyeliner that she hasn't got isn't very pigmented. It looks as if it's worn away, so as if she might have been wearing it for quite a long time. But this is very, very pigmented, but it's cheap, so I wanted to show this as an alternative because all my other brands I've got are really expensive. So I'm just going to apply that to the waterline, and the waterline only. If you've got quite small eyes, you can skip this step, but she is wearing it in the look. So now for mascara, I'm going to use Volume Million Lash Excess in black. And I'm just going to, and that's by Loreal, I don't know if I mentioned that, and just apply that to my lashes. Her face is pretty matte, so I'm going to use a setting powder as such, but you can use any pressed powder that you have available. So I'm just applying that onto the same brush I used earlier to contour the face, and just apply that to the skin. And this also lets the foundation and stuff like that last that little bit longer throughout the day. I am going to apply a little bit of blusher. I know I said earlier that she doesn't have a lot of like colour on her cheeks, but for me personally I do need a bit of that to look a bit more awake. So I'm using a Look Beauty Make Me Blush blusher in Rosy, and you can get this in Superdrug. So tapping the excess off, applying that to the apples of cheeks and blending back. But now for lips, just to finish off the look, I've got another Look Beauty product, and this is also from Superdrug, and this is in Toffee, and it is a brownie nudie sort of look. I love these, they smell like coconut and they're really, really nice. So that is my look done. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you give it a go. And thanks very much, Danielle, for suggesting this look. And it was also quite a challenge for me to use products that weren't sort of too expensive. So that was a nice little sort of, I was trying and keep the budget down. So I hope that helps. If you like this, then please subscribe. I believe it's this side, it might be that side because the camera flips around. So thanks ever so much, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!